Hi guys, my name is Kaylee Ricketts and I have decided to discuss the uncertainty reduction theory by Charles Berger. So basically, in short, this theory is based on meeting someone for the first time. Of course, doing this normally makes us nervous and it's probably for something really important. This theory could apply to a job interview, a blind date, maybe meeting a teacher for the first time before a new class, really any kind of new interaction. Basically, in this theory, Berger breaks down why we feel this way before we start communicating and also how we can improve this feeling to where we don't have as much anxiety. Berger has built kind of a timeline for meeting someone, and in the process, he outlines how this meeting will go and how the communicators can help it go through more smoothly. So let's dive into this theory because I think it's super helpful and I think it will really benefit us, especially as we are starting to build our careers. So Berger starts off this theory by stating that it's completely natural to feel this anxiety before you meet someone. So you feel this pit start to form in your stomach and maybe your palms are sweaty. Obviously you're pretty nervous, but he says this is completely natural and normal. He goes into detail with 3 reasons why we might feel this way. The first being that we know that we will probably see this person again, so obviously we want to make a good impression and we want them to like us. Second is the incentive value. Basically, they have something we want. For example, a job or a good grade. And lastly, deviance. We are afraid this person is going to be weird and uncomfortable and maybe we just won't click with them because they're different from us. So far, all of this makes sense. I mean, when I go to meet someone, typically these thoughts pop into my head. But also we have some other thoughts that we might focus on too as well. So the first of the second set of questions might be related to our own behavior. So basically, how are we going to act whenever they walk into the room? Obviously, we want to make a good impression. So do I get up and shake his hand? Do I call him by his first or last name? What do I do? How do I act? Berger says these thoughts are completely normal too, because obviously we want to be on our best behavior. We might also have some cognitive questions pop into our head. So basically, who is this person? What does she like to do? What is the ideal employee to her? What makes her unique? Obviously, you ask these questions because you want to mold yourself to fit her standards. So all of these thoughts are completely normal, and this is kind of why the theory exists. So the next part of this theory is based on how we can create certainty about uncertainty. Berger says there are 8 key variables that help us feel a little bit more comfortable in this new environment. The first of these is verbal communication. Obviously, the more that we talk to this person, the more comfortable we will get with them, and the less social anxiety we will have. Nonverbal warmth, which is our second variable, works the same way. So if this person embraces you with a hug or a really big smile, then you're going to feel better in the situation and be more comfortable. Third, we have information seeking, and this one is kind of opposite from our first two. The more uncertainty we have about a new person, the more questions we will have about them. So if you are completely comfortable with this person at the end of the meeting, you're probably not going to walk out still thinking, am I going to get that job? Or did they like me? You'll be more confident with yourself so you won't have to ask these questions. Fourth, we have self-disclosure, which boils down to the more intimacy we have in this meeting, the less uncertainty and anxiety we will have. Next, we have similarity, which means the more that we have in common with this person, the less anxiety we are going to feel. If you and this person are a lot alike, then obviously you're going to feel more comfortable. After similarity, we have liking. So basically, when we like this person more, we have less uncertainty. But if we don't like this person, we are going to have quite a bit of uncertainty, and it's just going to be really uncomfortable. And lastly, we have shared networks, which kind of falls along the same lines of similarities. So if you have mutual friends, and you probably will have those more things in common, therefore you will have less uncertainty. So Berger pretty much lays out how we can build our certainty up and how we can make the situation more comfortable. So, going back to how our meeting might be for a specific reason, Berger believes that most social interactions are goal-driven. So we have a reason for our meeting and a reason for saying what we do. These reasons can fall under 4 different categories: seeking information, choosing plain complexity, hedging, and the hierarchy hypothesis. So first off, let's talk about seeking information. You can gather information many different ways. One of these ways is through a passive strategy, which means that you just wait for them to tell you the information. You can also choose an active strategy, which is where you would ask a third party for information, or interactively, which is where you ask this person face to face. And lastly, we have the extractive strategy, which is pretty much where you Google the question. So you might research how to dress for an interview, or you might search through a company's website to find out what they do and what they are about. So all of these strategies are different ways we can find information, which we know the more information we have, the better we feel about the situation. Next is plan complexity, which is the schedule of how you want your meeting to go. Are you going to walk into that interview and completely wing it? Or are you going to talk about your past experiences in the order of your resume? How are you going to go about your meeting pretty much? According to Berger, the more organized and planned you are, the less uncertainty you'll have walking in. Next, we have hedging, which is kind of where you use humor to avoid that awkwardness. So maybe you said something really stupid and you kind of begin to panic. So then you say, just kidding, or something else kind of stupid, hoping to be funny and cover it up. Lastly, we have a hierarchy hypothesis. So the hierarchy hypothesis comes in handy when you are a new person and you're trying to talk to them and you don't really understand what is going on. So maybe you use some jargon from your last job and the person doesn't understand what it means, so you have to reword your phrase or define what you mean. Hierarchy hypothesis is pretty much taking a different approach when the first one doesn't work. So as you can see, having this uncertainty is kind of unavoidable at first, and Berger says that it is completely normal. But you don't have to worry because he laid it all out in different approaches for making it better and smoother and more comfortable. I think Berger took a really good approach against this feeling that we all experience. I like how it's tangible and how you can actually experiment with it and really test it out. So I encourage you all to look up more information about the uncertainty reduction theory because obviously this is a very condensed version, but hopefully it was helpful and you can think back to this theory the next time you are walking into a job interview or a first date or something of that nature. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.